I guess drank each other's blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only.
You already know what it is. It's your boy Laid Back with another reaction, another review, another episode. Hey, TikTok, you up to bat. Bah! It's your boy Laid Back. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, two things we got to do. You got to hit that subscribe button. I'm drinking this water. You already know what it is, man. You are the prize in 2025. You are the prize in 2025. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Stay up to date with all the videos. We back with another reaction, man. We got some secret society type stuff going on. Stuff that's going on behind the scenes, theories, conspiracy, all that type of stuff, man. But look, you make it to the end of this one, you're a real one for real. Make sure you put that in the comments. Also, if you into this stuff, I got a TikTok playlist you can go through, binge watch. It's a lot of stuff in there. Share this with the last person you text in your phone, or if you're a real one. No, I'm just saying. But let's go ahead and get into it. Fire Squad, what's popping? Let's get it.
I thought I had heard of all the worst cult leaders, but I had never heard of this man. This is the Runarwald's secluded family, a family that was kept in a bunker underground for 9 years by their father because he had convinced them that the world had ended. This is coming from this week's episode of the Heart Starts Pounding podcast, but this is Harriet van Dorsten, and he felt like he was God. So one day he told his wife and 9 children that he got a vision that the world was full of evil spirits and that it was probably going to end soon. And that to combat this, they had to stay inside all of the time.
Dang.
He refused to let the kids go to school, and instead they had to stay in bunkers like this while he preached to them that the world was ending. But that wasn't enough, so he moved them to this secluded farmhouse. Except they didn't live in the farmhouse, they lived in a windowless room behind a hole in a cupboard that he had cut, and there was also nothing around it, so if any of the kids escaped and got above ground, they would actually think that they were the only people left in the world. Which made sense because when they got to this house, their dad told them that the world had officially ended and they were the only people left. But one day, the oldest son living in that house escaped and found a bar in town full of people, and he realized that, oh my god, the world is still operating. And that's how he started planning how he was going to get his siblings out of that situation. This whole story is unlike anything I've ever heard before, so I did a whole breakdown on this week's episode of the podcast. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts.
Do your own research. That sounds crazy.
You just gotta be aware of that stuff. I think out here people don't think that it's true because they like watch documentaries, or they think it's like false because it seems so crazy, but it's like,
how true is it?
It's very true. They use mental health as like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's the hook.
Yeah, they like they have little mushroom things.
Let's do this.
They got
shit,
like
man.
ketamine shit that they do, like, and they like use it as like it's good for you, like, you know what I'm saying? But really, they're like, yeah.
But what do they want to do with you? Whatever.
I never got that far.
We don't want to find out.
Yeah, nah, yeah, I'm cool.
Nah, yeah. And they, I think they come to you as they want to help you. People want to help you.
Yeah, they want to be like your spirit guide and all of these things, and it's cool, like on a surface level, you know what I mean? Because when you take what the benefits from it, it's cool. But then when you start going a little bit deeper, you start to figure out what's really cracking.
He said, I ain't make it that far. Hell nah.
The Illuminati is real, 100%. Trust me, I know. You heard me? I have been approached so many times, you dig? And that's one of the reasons of why, it took me a while to want to drop on a major, which I'm on my way to now, and I'm dropping a project called No One Kills. Right after this interview is over, you'll go hear about it a lot. But yeah, I've been approached by the Illuminati at least 3 times in my life, which makes me petrified because the things that come with that, it's humbling. It really is. It's scary. It's scary. In this game, you don't really work hard to be a superstar and successful. You get chose to. And when they choose you, you gotta do what they tell you to do, or bad things that happen to you. And that's facts. But now, I'm just not afraid no more. You heard me? And I'm ready. I'm ready to do what I gotta do. And I feel so great right now in my life to be able to kick ass. And the things that's so tempting that'll make your process faster to get where you need to go. It's so tempting to want to accept the things that the Illuminati present to you. It's tempting, bro. It really is. And it sucks that you really gotta, that it even took me this long to keep pumping and dropping mixtapes and doing this and doing that. For me to be able to surface back the way I'm surfacing right now, you know, by the grace of the universe and God, that it's actually going the way I need to go now. But I could have been where I was at, mighty bruh, if I would have accepted what was presented to me. And I didn't. So I became whatever, the pimp guy or this guy or that guy. I was, you know, the 6-month drug dealer. I was doing all these things because I was so afraid of what the Illuminati in the industry come with. And I'm not afraid no more. But yes, the Illuminati is real. And when they come at you, it's kind of hard to bargain the presentation that they come at you with, if that makes sense.
Man, this stuff here.
Until 1999, the Oscars was held at a building called the Shrine, which was founded by William Florence and Walter Fleming, two high-ranking Scottish Rite Freemasons. Hollywood has long been interested in Freemasonry. Gene Autry, John Wayne, Nat King Cole, Duke Ellington, C.C. DeMille, Clark Gable, Walt Disney, Oliver Hardy, you name it, the list goes on. Many celebrities have come out and admitted their connection to Freemasonry. In the book Morals and Dogma, written by Albert Pike, on page 321, Freemasons let us know exactly who their God is. It says, Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name given to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning. It is he who bears the light. And with it, splendors intolerable, blinds feeble, sensual, or selfish souls. Doubt it not. When the movie Life is Beautiful was awarded at the Oscars, the camera quickly pulls back and shows a wide of the stage. When you pause it, you can see elements of Freemasonry built into the very set. If you look at a Masonic tracing board, a tool a Mason uses to teach and educate people involved in Freemasonry how to spot things that are connected to that organization, you can see the checkered floor, you can see the archways, you can see the sun motif in the background. All of these are letting you know exactly who owns this organization.
Man, hell nah. Hell nah.
What is it that the rich and elite all have in common? Musicians, world business leaders, even US presidents. They all attend the Bohemian Grove. But before I get into this video, if you want a full-length video on the Bohemian Grove, I'm going to post one to my YouTube. If you want to subscribe, the link is in the bio. Okay, so the Bohemian Grove refers to a secretive members-only retreat that hosts a yearly gathering in the woods of California. This secret society is exclusive to only men and has been in existence since 1872. During the encampment, the events that take place are kept hidden from the public and outside photography is strictly forbidden. However, there have been various photos and videos that have leaked through the years showing unusual gatherings and unexplained rituals. The grounds are protected by a year-round security team and very few outsiders have ever been able to get inside. The mystery of these rituals is one that perplexes the outside world. So why do the richest men of the world partake in the Bohemian Grove?
Yeah, what do you think?
There's this YouTuber that goes by the name Dancer1. He snuck into the Bohemian Grove at night. It's really
She got
creepy.
a beard?
He went like crazy far with it. Went way over the mountain range and like found like an abandoned children's kayak. He went into some of the buildings and he went into this one building. All the lights were on, but no one was there.
Oh my gosh.
And it had this creepy looking clown demon goblin.
Oh, weird.
There's like a iron bowl with 2 owls on each side of it in front of the giant owl statue.
Scary.
And then the pit where they light the fire and do the mock sacrifice. The owl is also made out of like plaster or something.
Really?
The owl statue, yeah, because he knocked on it, was hollow. And you can go behind it and go up inside the owl.
No way.
Yeah,
Hell
Yeah,
no.
but what was really creepy is the couple times throughout the video, you heard what sounded like humans doing owl noises. So saying owls, no good.
I don't like it.
But when he was leaving, he was like leaving in a panic because like a light turned on, like a security light.
Okay.
And like he couldn't see like a foot in front of him while paddling out.
See this stuff right here, man. Look, stay away.
Here's some hidden footage of celebrities who expose the truth to the public. Okay, first, I want you guys to watch this interview with Megan Fox called Unfiltered, where she talks about ayahuasca ceremonies and blood rituals she does, and then we're going to talk about it after.
I guess drank each other's blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. He's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just like cut his chest open with broken glass and be like, take my soul, let me bleed on you. It doesn't not happen, let me tell you. Maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened. You are in the middle of the jungle, and I had my questions and my goals, and then he went and he sat to be given his ayahuasca, and everybody else was being given one glass of ayahuasca because it was our first night. And the shaman says something in her native language, and then the interpreter is like, we need to give you 3 doses because you have such a dark, sad spirit standing behind you, like an actual like demonic spirit hovering over him. To no one's surprise, anyone that knows him, we're all like, no, when I tell that story, nobody's like, oh my God, everybody's like, and then what? Because we all know that.
I've told you guys this before, most celebrities do things that we would consider spiritual, conscious, or witchcraft that most of the masses aren't aware of, but is real nonetheless, that the government has even come out and said is real. Like astral projection, spell work, light and dark magic, contacting spirits, talking to extraterrestrials. These things these elite people do, and they talk about it. What they don't tell you, and some celebrities are coming out now and saying this, is that these elites will offer them wealth, money, and lavish lifestyles as long as they support the agenda of these elites. And if they don't, though, then they're made to be ridiculed by society, made to look crazy, or their fame and wealth is taken away.
I have the top secret information. I just can't share it. You don't think I've made all of these movies and not been briefed by the White House?
It makes sense now.
Of course. I know. I just can't tell you.
Ooh, in plain sight.
The Illuminati doesn't control the world because nobody's that organized.
But did you ever see that Bohemian Grove thing? That is absolutely 100% real. No, it's not. So what, Brian? It's people dressing up like wizards, burning an effigy in front of an owl god. It's people at the highest levels of banks. It's all these different famous people. There's a bunch of crazy, really rich, influential people that went to that Bohemian Grove and dressed up like druids, and they chanted things. Have you ever seen it?
Yes.
You are.
You haven't seen it. He hasn't seen it. He hasn't seen it.
I'm sorry.
He hasn't seen it.
Set us free. You shall burn me once again.
They're chanting crazy shit, and they're putting hoods on, and they're burning an effigy that's supposed to be a sacrificial person, but it's straw in a bundle. They talk about the owl god Moloch. Okay, these are multimillionaires.
Man, this shit.
Who do you think really runs the world?
You're going to go there, huh, with the question. Who do I think runs the world? So I used to ask the question, I said, who's got the most power in America? Is it Congress? Is it president? Or is it billionaires? You'd be amazed how few people say president. Because they come and go. The famous quote with Putin that he says, American presidents, you don't have to worry about it. They're going to be there 4 to 8 years. Some suits are running, and run the country behind closed doors. He's got a very good point when he says something like that, Putin. So let's go process and dissect some of these guys that make all the money in the world. You become a billionaire, and you're still dangerously ambitious. And you're like, well, I want more control. I want more power. I can't be a president. I don't want to be a president because if I run for president, they're going to reveal the things that I've done in my life. And God forbid, if that gets all the light, I don't want that. That's embarrassing. But you know what I'm going to do? What if I can take over the world? Are there other people like me that are driven by wanting to take over the world? What if we could make the world one place and we make all the decisions for everybody? Because I'm probably one of the smartest people in the world. Think about what things people are most addicted to. Video games, partying. But what's one of the most addicting things that many of those guys can't get? Power.
Even
Even in Freemasonry and the military, the early initiates are intentionally misled as to what those symbols mean. Written by Albert Pike in the book Morals and Dogma, which is given to you when you're a 33rd degree, which is called the Sovereign Grand Inspector General. And in that book, he explains a way to take over the world, Sean, with 3 world wars. And the first world war happened exactly the way he said it. The second one happened exactly the way he said it. And also the third one's playing out right now exactly the way he said it. So we're watching a script play out. Some have even said that like certain groups have edited the Bible, the book of Revelations, and the reason why we're seeing it unfold among us and we feel helpless and there's nothing we can do because it's the word of God. But that would be the perfect way to control the masses. If you had some plan to do something, is to make them think that your plan was the word of God so that they're not going to try to revolt, because who are they to revolt against God?
Wow.
There was a rapper named Prodigy who began speaking out about the Illuminati. He basically said, I have this platform and I want to use my platform for good to wake up the masses to what's really going on in society. And so I am going to dig up this old clip of Prodigy right before he mysteriously choked on an egg. And he decided to speak with Alex Jones.
They're doing all this ritualistic murder and rituals on little, they molesting little kids, doing satanic sex rituals. Like, this stuff is really going on in this world. Like,
before he passed, Prodigy was dropping bombs on social media, speaking out against the system. And he even went so far as to suggest that some of the biggest names in hip-hop, yes, including Jay-Z, were involved in a secret society where their role is to push a certain agenda to the public. But that's not all. Prodigy also hinted at something even more sinister, claiming there were disturbing organized crimes happening within the entertainment world, targeting the most innocent.
He then mysteriously choked on an egg. Maybe the first person in human history to have choked on an egg in some capacity after speaking out about the Illuminati.
I remember that too. Whoa, that was crazy.
So the more you can manipulate knowledge and suppress knowledge, the more people will dismiss what's actually happening because they can't perceive that it's possible to happen because that knowledge has been kept from them. And so what you have with this cult is 2 worlds in one world. You have the secret society network I've described, which is fiercely compartmentalized. Only the inner core really know the story. And then you've got the population. And what's happening is the knowledge of reality and the knowledge of where humanity is being taken is kept in the cult. And it's passed over through the generations. And the same cult has created the education system. In America, it was created by the Rockefellers.
Wow.
Not least J.D. Rockefeller. And they own the media. They own the sources of information, apart from, people who are working to uncover this stuff. And so that information source to the population is designed to be as narrow as possible so that people have no bloody idea what they know.
Manipulation.
They can't control me. You get what I'm saying? They can control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z or Beyonce. I know you, man. But they can't control me. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed. Me too. You understand? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. Out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing.
Kanye be saying some stuff, man.
The more I dive into this subject and I start looking at who's involved, I'm starting to see a lot of Freemasons.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the Freemasons? I hear a lot of
it's a lot.
stuff.
There's a vast array of information. There's only a few real Freemasons that exist. In other words, when I say a few, I'm talking about maybe a few hundred, maybe at the top level that really know the ancient secrets, right?
Okay.
There's masonry halls all around the United States. I just spoke at one in Detroit. I was doing a conscious lecture with 19 Keys. We had nothing to do with masonry, but that's what, they rented the hall out to make money. But the people that generally typically go there, they have no real knowledge of the real ancient wisdom and knowledge that goes back into the ancient past. A lot of cities, even the city I grew up in, has these Freemason halls where it's just like a place to congregate, hang out, have a barbecue, pick up women, dance. There's no real true deep knowledge being translated at a lot of these places. Okay. There's only a very small, and I do mean small amount of people that really house and hold the true knowledge of the ancient past as the top level Freemasons.
When did this start?
Yeah, this goes all the way back to deep, deep antiquity. We're talking about 30,000 plus years ago. There were these brick masons in ancient Kemet called the Shattu. After the Great Flood, Amun-Ra, aka Marduk, he's known as Marduk in the Bible, M-A-R-D-U-K. Some people say Marduk, depending on how you want to pronounce his name. He's also in the Jewish Torah as well. In Kemet, he was known as Amun-Ra. This is why people say Amen, actually, it's to him. He actually made it a rule, a law.
Wow. Wow.
Secret societies have been manipulating us for thousands of years.
Watch this, y'all. Kids graduate from university. Incidentally, the word graduate comes from two words, gradually indoctrinate. So consequently, when you graduate, you come out with a square martyr board. The martyr board is a symbol of masonry. This is why you go to college to get a degree. Consequently, you need to understand that all universities and colleges in the Western world operate under the Vatican. All universities and colleges. So if you want to save your money to send your kids to college, just remember you're sending them to a Jesuit, Catholic-dominated ancient Roman Empire system, whereby your children are to gradually be indoctrinated into a system of religion, politics, and theology. As far back as the 4th, 5th, and 6th century, we know that the escapades of the popes, many of them were homosexuals, most of them were murderers. They were all offsprings of bankers. The entire Vatican system was a banking system. Today's Uniform Commercial Code is based on the old Vatican canon law. So once you understand the church, government, politics are all interconnected, and the secret societies have been manipulating them all from day one.
Man, this stuff gets crazy deep.
Today, I will be covering the Finders cult, or how the media portrays it, the Finders movement. Marion David Petty was born on December 12, 1920. At the age of 15, Marion wanted to enlist with the Army. But at that time, the legal enlistment age was 16 years old. So in order to leave home and join, Marion needed a way to convince his parents to lie about his birthday to the recruiters. His parents didn't see the need to lie when he needed just to wait like one more year. Shortly after the disagreement with his parents, he came across an article in the paper about a teenage boy who had murdered his parents after an argument. He set it aside, and later that evening, he left it on the kitchen table for his parents to see in the morning. There were no more conversations after that. The smallest bit of intimidation from leaving a news article on the table worked.
He must have been scared of him.
Yeah. Marion joined the U.S. Army at age 15 and was sent to Panama as a lifeguard for the United States Army. For 3 years, he sat out by the base pool and read book after book. This is what Marion would be doing for the rest of his life, learning as much and working as little as possible. Marion Petty then transferred to the Air Force in 1947. He was enlisted for 8 years, retired in 1955, took his pension, and never worked again. By the late 1960s, Marion Petty, with his wife and 2 sons, were living in the Washington, D.C. area. Around this time that Marion Petty began assembling the community that became known as the Finders. Marion bought an extensive wooded property out in Madison County, Virginia, and Marion began recruiting well-educated people that could discuss the latest philosophy, psychology, and human development. Marion believed that your common-day person was fucked. Those are his words. That Western civilization was declining, and he advocated for a certain style of living that would prepare his followers for a new consciousness. Basically, his goal was to liberate humanity from the shackles of progress. And the only way to do this was something called child rearing.
No.
He focused on the idea that in order to heal the planet and the people here, he needed to start from the womb. Healthy, sustainable children. He gained followers by speaking on, quote, the New Age way of living and Eastern mysticism. But his community wasn't publicized. This was recruiting, and it was kept very underground. As a matter of fact, they were practically invisible. Nobody could ever pinpoint them down. Finders practiced flexibility. They could pick up and go at what seemed like the snap of a finger. When spotted, the Finders members always stood out. The men were always dressed to the T and in a dark suit. The women were hardly seen, and the children were always dirty. The followers of the cult referred to Marion as a couple different names: the stroller, the student, the finder, and the game caller, because the followers trained and played games that Marion would make up. Altogether, there were about 40 followers in the Finders cult, but then he made a new purpose.
Oh, great.
Which would be to create a new generation of children from his cult and raise these kids in an experimental way. Instead of the biological parents raising them, the group would raise them as a whole and they would be independent. In 1980, they began to have their own Finders children, and the children were neglected and ignored. Nobody wanted the job to care for them, therefore nobody did. It was so bad that when Finders members would take them to a nearby playground, the two groups, like Finders kids and non-Finders kids, would never, couldn't mix whatsoever because they could hardly communicate with these other kids. Marion Petty would create games where the children would be in charge. And what I mean by that is that children as young as 2 years old would be left in charge, unsupervised, and left to, quote, think and fend for themselves to help expedite the developmental process. The Paradise Game was a high field experiment set up for 3 and 4-year-old Max and Mary. It was a high field, former cow pasture. The game caller set aside 2 acres of this area for the experiment. The adults then created and built walls out of tree limbs and brush, and they placed bedding on the ground for children and made sure there was enough shade. Once the encampment was built, the children were lowered inside the walls. For the next week, the adults stayed away to let 3 and 4-year-old Max and Mary to fend for themselves. It allowed them to be who they were at that moment in time without adults imposing an ordered worldview on them. In February of 1987, Tallahassee police received a call about 2 well-dressed men who were supervising 6 bug-bitten and unkept children in a park. When Tallahassee police intercepted the men after pulling them over in a van, they could not provide sufficient information as to their legal custody of the children, or when asked about their identity and the children's identity, they were uncooperative. So the Tallahassee Police Department took custody of the children and arrested the 2 men with child endangerment. The children were between the ages of 2 and 11. Relatively quickly, DC Police, or the Metropolitan PD, were contacted to try to establish the identities of the children. A joint investigation between Tallahassee PD and Metropolitan PD took off. So the Metropolitan Police Department then executed search warrants prepared by the United States Attorney's Office, District of Columbia, on 2 properties owned by the Finders. Here they found a substantial amount of computer equipment and documents that contain instructions for obtaining children for unspecified purposes. 6 weeks later, after an investigation from Florida to DC, hard evidence that shit was clearly going on, that this shit was illegal, the men were released from police custody, and the state dropped all charges against the men because the CIA came in and said that this was an internal matter. Federal agents concluded that there was no evidence of criminal activity and dropped the decade-long case that Metropolitan Police Department had against the Finders cult. But eventually, as all breaking news does, it became forgotten about. Until a man from Stuart, Florida, Skip Clements, claimed that the reason the Finders were in Tallahassee with those children was because they were in the process of trafficking them from DC to Mexico. He then claims that the United States Customs Service called off the investigation at the orders of the CIA. He then says the CIA was using this commune, the Finders, as a front to train their own agents with their own political agenda. He had so much evidence that he convinced 2 members of Congress to look into it, leading to a Justice Department investigation into the CIA and United States Customs Services. Irrefutable evidence was gathered together that the Finders are involved in a well-organized child abuse scheme, and that the State Department, in conjunction with the Counterintelligence Agency, conspired to cover up the entire thing. They found that both the State Department and the CIA were at minimum complicit and maximum direct involvement to cover up the investigation and charges. To this day, not a single person has been convicted of a crime in relation to the Finders cult. In October of 2019, the FBI unlocked its vault that released hundreds of documents related to the Finders, where it was confirmed that the CIA and the State Department conspired to cover up the investigation and charges in relation to the Finders, and that the CIA stepped in to cover up the criminal activity of the Finders in the initial 1987 investigation, with the agency implicitly claiming association with the cult by rendering the issue an internal matter. Don't come after me, but that, you guys, is the Finders cult.
Bruh, nothing. Crazy.
If your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there. Like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil.
This industry is not what it seems to be. I bet you there's rappers in here right now that can rap way better than me. You can't. You can rap way better than me. You will never be where I'm at because this industry is rigged. You have to go see this person and sit down and talk to them. You have to go and do this. You're a puppet.
Hollywood Records contract, and I'm signing it to have my first record ever and selling my soul to Hollywood Records. That's what I'm doing.
I signed my deal up in blood letters.
Something happened to me. I haven't been the same since. I've realized something about myself. It's dangerous.
Bruh, this is next level.
That's why I can speak with impunity about the Illuminati, because I know who you would have to be in order for what I'm saying to bother you, number one. Right. Number two, I know your big secret. I know that you're not the Illuminati, I am. So, you can't be illuminated, you're too dark. But the difficulty is getting people to believe something that they don't want to believe. And in each of these cases, this is where the money is. If you're just a capitalist, it is find something, establish a value for it, and make sure that that includes your profit, and make sure people really want it.
Right.
It's very fundamental.
Also, if you're running corporations and you're making billions of dollars, you're gonna get bored. What's the ultimate game? The ultimate game is to run the whole world.
Why do people want to do that so bad?
You guys, I want to share with you the secret covenant that you might or might not have heard about. The secret covenant was created by none other than the Rockefellers, and maybe even someone even higher than them, let's be honest. But this is their secret covenant and their clause of things that they wanted to follow. And if you're a conspiracy theorist or a critical thinker and you're aware of what's been going on in the world, you're going to know exactly how suitable this is. This is written word for word, and I want to read it to you. Okay, so bear with me. The secret covenant. An illusion, it will be so large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane. We'll create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will behave as if we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the absolute. We will work together always, and we will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks.
Whoa.
We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they will never see what's happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives and food and water also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their mind. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths, and they will destroy their minds and reproductive system. From all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them and what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that the poisons are good with fun images and musical tones.
Wow.
Those they look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poisons.
Wow.
They will see our products being used in the film and will grow accustomed to them and will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them that it's for their help.
Wow.
We will start early on. When their minds are young, we will target their children with what the children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. When their ability to learn has been affected, we will create medicine that will make them sicker and cause other diseases, for which we will create yet more medicine. We will render them docile and weak before us by our power. They will go depressed, slow, and obese. And when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention toward money and material goods so they many never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games so that they may never be one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish the governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us and we shall prosper from their toil.
Wow.
Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be always pure, for it is the way. We will make them kill each other when it suits us. We will keep them separated from the oneness by dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will grow them kindly and gently, letting them think that they are guiding themselves. We will foment animosity between them through our factions. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, whichever suits it best. We will make them rip each other's hearts apart and kill their own children. We will accomplish this by using hate as our ally, anger as our friend. The hate will blind them totally, and never shall they see that from their conflicts we emerge as their rulers. They will be busy killing each other. They will bathe in their own blood and kill their neighbors for as long as we see fit. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars and their deaths. They shall repeat this over and over until our ultimate goal is accomplished. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger through images and sounds. We will use all the tools we have to accomplish this. The tools will be provided by their labor. We will make them hate themselves and their neighbors. We will always hide the divine truth from them. They were all one. That they were all one. This they must never know. They must never know that a man's color is an illusion. They must always think that they are not equal. Drop by drop, we will advance our goal. We will take over their land, resources, and wealth to exercise total control over them. We will deceive them into accepting laws that will steal the little freedom they will have. We will establish a money system that will imprison them forever, keeping them and their children in debt. When they shall band together, we will accuse them of crimes and present a different story to the world, for we shall own all the media. We will use our media to control the flow of information and their sentiment in our favor. When they shall rise up against us, we will crush them like insects, for they are less than that. They will be helpless to do anything, for they will have no weapons. We will recruit some of their own to carry out our plans. We will promise them eternal life, but eternal life they will never have, for they are not us. The recruits will be called initiates and will be indoctrinated to believe false rites of the passage to their higher realms. Members of these groups will think that they are one with us, never knowing the truth. They must never learn this truth, for they will turn against us. For their work, they will be rewarded with earthly things and great titles, but never will they become immortal and join us. Never will they receive the light and travel the stars. They will never reach their higher realms, for the killing of their own kind will prevent passage to the realm of enlightenment. This they will never know. The truth will be hidden in their face, so close they will not be able to focus on it until it's too late. Oh yes, so grand the illusion of freedom will be that they will never know that they are our slaves. When all is in place, the reality we will have created for them will own them. This reality will be their prison. They will live in self-delusion. When our goal is accomplished, a new era of domination will begin. Their minds will be bound by their beliefs, the beliefs we have established from time. But if they ever find out they are our equal, we shall perish. This they must never know. If they ever find out that together they can vanquish us, they will take action. They must never ever find out what we have done, for if they do, we shall have no place to run, for it will be easy to see who we are once the veil has fallen. Our actions will have revealed who we are, and they will hunt us down, and no person shall give us shelter. This is the secret covenant by which we shall live the rest of our present and future lives, for this reality will transcend many generations and lifespans. This is the secret covenant. This is why it's so important to learn about this, because when you learn about this, you create a life outside of the system. When you're aware of it, you can no longer be controlled. When you know what they want to do, you no longer fall into the traps from health, money, empowerment, purpose, higher vibrations, the music that you're listening to, the food that you're eating, the things that you're consumed with, the video games, the porn. All of this is all a distraction to keep you easily controlled. And once you know, when you change that, exactly like they said, they fear it. Because the more of us that rise up and are aware of what's happening, the more they lose their control, which is exactly what they don't want. And this is why we're recreating what the generation is going to look like. And this is why we're all waiting for the uprise, because we know that this entire plan is going to crumble.
Bruh, is this real, bruh? Let me know in the comments. Because that was crazy.
15 years old, I got exposed to an organization called the Brotherhood. And this group took me in and taught me how to use the law of attraction. And what that really is how to use your brain to act as a transmitter and receiver of frequency. And they taught me how to focus that to virtually attract into my life what I wanted. They told me that I could have, be, or do anything I wanted. Well, it sounded too good to be true, you know, the very young boy. Yeah. But I did that, and I made millions of dollars before I was 18. And I went on to generate a very large, successful empire all over the world in business, and done some pretty amazing things. Best-selling books. I mean, a first-time author coming out with a book that was the #1 selling book in America. It outsold Harry Potter and the Da Vinci Code that year. It was #1 in the New York Times bestsellers 26 weeks in a row. Have Rolls Royces and Ferraris and spend time on super yachts around the world, flying the Concorde, private jets, living in 25,000 square foot mansions.
Wow. Who in the hell was that?
Me and my wife went to this restaurant. There was just a weird vibe in there.
Was it called the Yellow Deli?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the 12 tribes. It was originally a group started by a guy by the name of Gene Spriggs in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and they believe that they are the chosen new Israel, and their leader is the prophet. Well, Gene Spriggs died rich, but his people would flip real estate for him. And this would be the way that Gene Spriggs made money, because these people would work for basically nothing but room and board. Whenever you go to a Yellow Deli, whenever you have one of their mates, you are contributing to the 12 tribes cult.
Bro, what?
Are you related to Luda?
No, so there was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing, and it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us, we were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person, they said, was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Cat Williams. Now, one person ended up with a light-skinned, ugly-faced wife that's never done a... Remember I told you that if I say that, it applied to 7 people? Yes. It's part of what they give you. Okay? I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money they give? 200?
Sir. Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
10. 200 million. I might need to get me one of the more women look the same.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day.
Damn.
Guys, when you hear about this elite members only club named Club 33, it is going to give you shivers. So, it's for adults, but it's a private members only club that is located, guess where? Disneyland parks. Some of you have probably been to Disneyland, but listen to the price to join. $25,000 to $50,000 to join this club, and an annual fee of $10,000. Wait till you hear who are members. Red flags are going to start ringing. Tom Hanks. Ooh. Wonder why Tom Hanks likes their Sir Elton John. I wonder why he's a Sir. But wait, it gets better. Katy Perry's a member. Jay-Z and Beyonce are members. I'm not one to assume, but I want to know why some grown men and grown women want to go to Disneyland and spend so much money. Definitely want to know why Tom Hanks likes going there.
Bro, is that a real thing?
You ever heard of the Heaven's Gate cult?
No.
So on March 26, 1997, 39 bodies were found in a house, and it was like a mass. So each body was in a bed with a purple blanket on top and the same Nike shoes. So like it was crazy because a lot of people thought like Nike was in on all this. But their whole like belief in the religion was that their souls were gonna go to the next level, and like they were gonna get out of their human forms, and their souls were gonna go to like another level, and they were gonna get a ride from an alien spacecraft that was behind a comet that passed by. So people just thought they was crazy and things like that. But 2 weeks before, right, in Arizona, when the comet came over, right, a bunch of eyewitnesses seen an alien ship behind the comet, like a giant ship. They said it was as big as 2 football fields, and people say maybe they did get picked up, or maybe they're just crazy. Because like, think about it, that's a weird coincidence though.
Was that real?
So there is a demonic group going around called the 764. Like, they're literally devil worshipers, Satan worshipers. It's a satanic group. But apparently what this satanic group is doing is that they're targeting kids online and in video games, and they are making kids do very, very, very sinister things, basically initiating them into their cult. And what they do is they start off really small by telling them to do something really small. And over time, they eventually get them to do something really big. Obviously a form of manipulation, starting off really small and eventually getting them to do something really big and really sinister. And when I say really big and really sinister, you can think about all the things that has gone on so far. Apparently they started off in the UK and now they're reaching rounds in the US, and you know the internet can reach anybody from anywhere. So pay attention to who your kids are talking to on video games, who they're talking to on their computer, and like is on social media. Monitor your kids because they are out to get them. And we all know that everyone who worships Satan, he tells them to target the children, 100%. And so y'all need to make sure what y'all kids are watching and what they're seeing, and make sure that they have not been exposed to the 764. Mind you, there are way more groups than this that are out there that obviously haven't been exposed yet. There was that Facebook group. I don't remember the details of it. I didn't look too deep into it, but I did see a couple videos on it that somebody had made. So pay attention to what your kids are doing and what they're seeing, because clearly y'all don't know how sinister this world is.
Definitely pay attention, for sure.
He wrote, "They lure you with nice things, nice food, nice music, and good moral ideas. Underneath it is a really crazy doctrine that says black people are cursed, and the end of the world is in 48 years, and that they're trying to raise up to 144,000 young virgin men to be sacrificed and killed by the governments of the world, the beast that's in the Bible. Their entire existence and everything they do is driven by the prophecy. They won't tell you directly, but this is absolutely true to them. They directly control your love life. In the community, you don't get a paycheck, you work super hard, and your individualism is stripped away. You have to give up everything, your bank account, your family, everything, which isn't hard if you already have nothing like I did. The young people who are going through hard times and are vulnerable, these are the people that they target. They are the people who join, they are tricked. I will say though, in my experience and in my opinion, if you spent years there and decide to leave for some reason, things will be very difficult and you will have nothing and you may lose friends in the commune." And then he also said, "They try to persuade people who are young and impressionable and have an open mind. Like I said before, it's all psychology. They pull from the sensitive parts of your life, make you feel bad about your bad decisions, and the only way to fix it is to join them." Just keep in mind, the founder, Eugene Springs, was a military psychologist and a high school counselor before he founded the cult. He just died in January of 2021. He knew how to work the people's fear and guilt.
Jeez, man.
Goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil.
I've had this, but I've had people throw millions of dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And you've been on. Oh, they're in the room.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that a gang sign? Have you, Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is. I have no idea. You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know. We don't know. All the comics and show business don't know what this is. To be the whistleblower, I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati. And you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
But we kind of signed our life away to each other, and legally and with blood, that there's no possible way anybody can separate or walk away from this.
Whoa.
And I'm very honored to be able to receive this amazing award from the depths of my soul.
What?
They sacrificed the little boy for Satan, and they take some of the high priests take his blood, and that's the sacrifice. he actually becomes a priest in the cult. So, but stepping back, he was evil. Like the minute he walked in the room, the interview room is a small room, you could feel the evil walk in the room with him. My personal opinion is they do sell their soul. One way or the other, they figure it out. They get told to do this, they do it, and that brings them the wealth.
How many people go missing every day in New York?
Well, there's probably like 15,000 per year in New York.
What is the base like?
Okay, so, you know about the Big Blue former hospital in downtown Los Angeles. That's
right.
called PAC Base, Pacific Area Command. 90 miles east of that, in San Jacinto, California, they had taken over this resort called Gilman Hot Springs in 1979, I think, with the idea that it would be where Hubbard could live in some seclusion. But then he took off and never ended up living there. So that became their international management base. It's got like 400 or 500 acres. It's got all these buildings to it. That's where the Headleys were for many, many years. Mike Rinder spent a lot of time out there. And eventually,
We'll come back to the
in
Headleys.
2004, Miscavige was so paranoid about his own people, he created a prison for them called the Hole. The Hole started at the Int Base or Gold Base in January 2004. There's still some version of it today. I mean, there's still top executives that have been basically disappeared that will never leave that base, that David had for some reason decided that they were a liability. But, Mike Rinder spent a couple of years in the Hole there.
I had asked Mark about this, and it was hard for even him to answer. He's been covering this forever because it's so strange. But how do they have a private prison and that itself is not grounds for the feds to come in and say this is false imprisonment, completely illegal? And
there was a girl who was sexually abused while she was in the cult in America. She took it to the police. She left. She said, fuck this, I'm getting out of here. Very brave woman. She went to the cops and said, okay, there's a member of this group, the 12 tribes, who has been abusing me for years when I was a member of the group. I want you to press charges. So the cops went to the group, interviewed the man. Then the cult asked the woman to come back and have a talk, okay? So she drove there, had a talk with the elders, and they said, look, what would it take for you to just, drop the charges against us, stop making trouble, just say it never happened. And there was an inference that they were willing to give her certain things, certain hush money. She said no. She drove away. 40 k's down the road, her brakes failed and she drove into oncoming traffic.
Celebrities who have been involved in cults. Let's do it. Joaquin Phoenix was born into the cult Children of God, and his parents left when he was 3 years old. When Winona Ryder was 7, her family moved to the Rainbow Family Commune in California, where there was no electricity, TV, or music. When Michelle Pfeiffer first moved to LA, she became a breatharian, which means that they believed that humans could go through photosynthesis and get all their nutrients just from the sun and no food and water, and she had to pay for it. And she didn't realize she was in a cult until she got an acting role about being in a cult, and she was like, bye. Whoa. Rose McGowan was also a member of Children of God, and she escaped with her father at age 9. When Patricia and David Arquette were younger, their parents joined a commune called Skymont in Virginia, where there were no bathrooms, no running water, no electricity, and eventually it wasn't self-sufficient, so they left.
Man, this stuff is some craziness.
Are you telling people I was in a cult?
Well, now, yeah. I signed up to a webinar and they're studying the 7 habits of highly effective people. I thought, well, if I can learn them, use them in my own life, I'll do well. You had to leave your number. So a week later, I had a phone call from Jay Singh. We read most of the book. I really enjoyed it. Saw it benefiting my life too. That's when Jay offered me the opportunity to work with him one-on-one. Discipline program was £10,000. That was going to be a year's worth of mentoring. And these calls then became more frequent, longer, more intense, more about deeper parts of your life. At first, just what I was doing all day, every day, and I would share my ambitions, my desires, insecurities. In time, began to share traumatic things I found deeply painful.
It's not in mentorship coaching that you should be putting your trust. It's in who's behind the mentorship and coaching.
Jeff joined Lighthouse full time.
It involves being on these calls. It got longer and longer as we went. So within 6 months, they're 5 to 6 hours.
Dang.
But you'd never know when they were going to finish.
You got Lighthouse team members are so busy that they're often not questioning, at least out loud, what the point of these calls are, or what anyone's achieving.
Sold his house.
He's a cash cow. Sounds awful. They realised there was money to have there. That I would listen in at times, and the types of topics they were discussing, which were beyond mentoring and coaching and business, and was more about beliefs and how you should live your life. And then that's when I started worrying, because I thought he's literally being brainwashed all day, every day.
My partner, Dawn, well, she's got endless flack. I won't repeat what he said.
I thought the moment I let this, I finish with him for my own self-dignity and worth, he's just going to plough right into it, and we've lost him. And I feel like I was the only glimmer of hope, if not him completely going into that. So I'm trying not to cry.
Took some time off, started to feel like his own self again, and left the lighthouse.
We're trying to get everything back to normal the best we can.
Investigation and judge shut down as evidence of a lack of financial transparency.
How do you feel, Paul, about the fact that so many people think you're running a cult?
We're not running a cult, because they don't know what a cult is. They don't know. I tell you, if you ask them what's the difference between a cult and a community that supports people, they wouldn't be able to tell you.
Why do you think so many people say
because
it?
they're slurring us, they're smearing us. That's exactly what they do.
Are you going to carry on?
Yes, we are carrying on.
Cool.
Thank you. We've had enough. No comment.
5-6 hours.
This is the most evil cult in South African history. They are known as the Krugersdorp Killers. However, they refer to themselves as Electus per Deus, which means chosen by God. They went on a killing spree between 2012 and 2016, murdering 11 people, mainly from the Krugersdorp community. The leader of this cult, Cecilia Steyn, was a dark, twisted individual. She manipulated her followers into believing that she was a former high-ranking witch. Later, she would convince the group that by committing murder, they were doing God's work. However, it's believed that her real reason for orchestrating the killings was for financial gain, as well as revenge against another religious group she used to be part of. The murders were horrific and brutal, literally the stuff of nightmares. The creepiest part of this whole story is the cult members were seemingly normal people. One of them was a teacher, another a financial broker, and even a teenager was involved. The evil cult leader, Cecilia Steyn, is thankfully in prison, as well as some of the followers.
Whoa.
I had thought that I had seen everything when it came to cults, but you are not prepared for what this cult believes. So HBO just released this documentary about the Love Is One cult, which was run by this woman, Amy Carlson, who calls herself Mother God. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but she believed she was controlled by the spirit of Robin Williams, and this yassified version of Saint Germain. Also, I cover a lot of dark stuff on this page, so you should follow along. She also said she could channel and get advice from this galactic federation of dead celebrities. There's Mr. Rogers, Carrie Fisher, Steve Irwin, and randomly Donald Trump, who is not dead. But Robin Williams is at the top, and so the cult believes they're getting a lot of advice through Robin Williams, so they'll say things like, so one of the beliefs that this cult has is that one day Robin Williams is going to arrive in a spaceship to take Mother God away so that she can spiritually ascend. He also told her that she can only be 103 pounds to get on the spaceship, which is why she's trying to lose a lot of weight. Eventually, Mother God starts getting sicker and sicker, and also bluer and bluer because of the colloidal silver supplements they won't stop giving her. And everyone thinks, oh my God, Robin Williams must be coming on a spaceship really soon to help Mother ascend. Eventually, she passes away, and guess what? Shockingly, Robin Williams does not descend in an intergalactic spaceship to come collect the 103-pound body of Mother God. And so the cult members just have her body. They don't know what to do with it. They thought Robin Williams was gonna come. So they hang out with it for 12 days until the police finally show up.
Whoa.
Anyways, this whole thing is a trip. You just gotta watch it to believe it.
All right, guys, that was another TikTok compilation, man, about secret societies and cults. And if you made it this far, you a real one for real. Make sure you put that in the comments. But this stuff is wild. This stuff is wild. The manipulation, the deceiving, the programming, the brainwashing. It's crazy, man. But look, till next time, self-love and positivity. Hit that like button. Fire Squad, I got you and you know it. Whew.